Bulk of our poor are belonging to scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, and Muslim minority communities. Take it or leave it, but if you don't focus there, rest of it is conversation. 4 states continue to account for nearly half of the poor, even after bifurcation: Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, UP. So, yes, we can focus all over the country, but I am talking about what is, I think, something more practical, more doable, and we should pay attention to that. Of course, direct, indirect, occasionally indirect, everything is important. But ultimately, in my view, when we talk about poverty, we have to talk about income. Gone are the days where you could barter your cow for somebody's crop. Even that exchange these days happens through modern currency. New notes you have seen after demonetization, right? Globally, of course, they use cryptocurrency, but locally we use real currency. So where are these sections of SC, ST, and minorities located in those 4 states, and what needs to happen in relation to those 4 types of interventions? First is agriculture and allied. Vijay Kumarji has mentioned land. I would not even worry about what happened in Barga movement, etc., etc., gone are the days, but I would talk about land consolidation. Productivity of land, land inputs, but most importantly, land markets. And land markets exist, they need to be made accessible to the small producer. It is a cartel market, it only works for the big one. The second point I want to bring to your attention is, of course, youth are very important. Half of our population is below 25. They were born after the so-called revolutionary 1991 transformation. But in my judgment, and I have no statistics, I have only visual data from 200-300 districts, because I don't think we have 2016-17 data yet. Nearly 70% of our young people are not in rural areas. Whether they are in peri-urban or real urban or fully urban or metros is for Professor Kundu and others to figure out. But we fail to find able-bodied 15-year-old, 20-year-old in any of the villages we work in. And many of you sitting here work in villages, and where they have gone to a nearest urban center. In growing urbanization of youth, therefore, what do? They work in informal economy, low skilled, and poorly paid. So skilling in rural areas is not going to help at this stage. Skilling in peri-urban areas is where we need to pay attention, in my view. If you don't pay attention there, these people will continue to be partly employed, occasionally employed, mostly unemployed. And when they are mostly unemployed, they will try to use other means of income generation, like running away with ATM machines. It's a growing business. Some years ago, it used to be Ferroti in Bihar. These are income development opportunities for young people who are otherwise frustrated, because where they are, we don't have programs. We have programs where they are not. Small business in small towns. 40 years ago, I went to look at National Small Industry Corporation sitting near Okhla. They talked about small business in Okhla. Today, I am talking about small businesses in small towns. There are 8,000 plus such places in this country. Every block headquarter is a small town. Every block headquarter also has a Nagar Palika elected. Welcome, Honorable Minister for Rural Development, but poverty in India today needs urban attention. If we don't give it that attention, we will continue to chase the mirage. And the fourth area of focus on income is localization of opportunities. Economy to be local, assets to be local, and markets to be local. It is important that local markets are energized and attention to local economy is given. I want to return to a very important point Vijay Kumarji made. And all studies that I have seen, all the realities I have observed is, we did a recent study in 4 states. UNDP has a copy, we'll distribute to you all. Strengthened panchayats generated more of their own resources and contributed more to economic development locally. It is true the gram panchayats vary in size, but district planning committees exist in our constitution. The only planning body constitutionally mandated in this country is called DPC. And the states where the color is less red are the states where district level Panchayati Raj institutions have had greater capacity, greater strength, devolution has taken place. So, if we want to focus on local economy, we have to figure out how to make DPCs work. DPCs were constitutionally mandated to bring the rural and the urban together, because you can't plan rural economy without reference to block headquarter or district headquarter. And DPCs were supposed to not only look at economic development, but also social justice issues. So all the issues of access to health, water, education, sanitation could be included. I want to suggest to you, therefore, some provocatively disruptive strategies. They may only disrupt me at the end of the session, but that is okay. Taking cue from Vijay Kumarji's point, I want to suggest that SHGs and unemployment are not necessarily organically linked. You can have SHGs, you can also have heavy unemployment in the same locations. So, creating 2 parallel structures, one for Narega and one for rural livelihood, is inappropriate today. I would argue, Tiwari ji may agree or disagree, that they should be merged. And I'll give you a couple of reasons why they should be merged. Reforms in small towns. We have smart city, 99 or 90 plus of them. We have Amrut cities, 500 of them. But I am talking about neither smart nor Amrut. I am talking about those smaller and smaller block headquarters where markets exist, economy happens. And if we want to address the question of markets and infrastructure there, we will have to go beyond smart and Amrut. It does not mean bigger cities don't need it, but it is essential that we pay attention where people gather from rural areas and peri-urban areas to exchange goods and services. National Urban Livelihood Mission has been designed as an extension of National Rural Livelihood Mission. Many states, you cannot create a small group. So we need to figure out what to do with livelihood mission in urban areas. And of course, I have already made the point about devolution. It is very clear that the 4 states which have performed worst on poverty, have highest incidence of poverty, are also the 4 states which have been performing poorly on Manrega, and also the 4 states where devolution to panchayats is very poor. You can call it association or causality. I don't know whether the chicken came first or the egg, but if we don't address that, we can have many more schemes. Final point, where should the attention be of Niti Aayog and all of you who are interested in eradicating poverty? Districts do not matter. 12 years ago, under the then Planning Commission, a technical support institution mechanism was created to enable district level planning. Many of you may have been associated with it. The question of districts began in 1960. Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru's time, 123 districts were identified. We have had backward region grant fund focusing on districts. Why districts do not matter? Because state government is where reform and capacity is needed. So nudge, incentivize and push reforms in those state governments. Focus your attention on weak and dysfunctional state capacities in Bimaru states. And finally, Honorable Prime Minister talked about finding young IAS officers or young officers as district collectors. Let me tell you, individuals matter, but not a whole lot. Unless you reform governance of these states, you can continue to create any number of combinations of districts, but ultimately we will be discussing ending poverty 10 years later. Thank you very much.